fine linen shroud. In fact, everything about the shroud would indicate, simply because of the way that it was manufactured, to be one of the most expensive fabrics you could buy at the time. But here's what we all want to know. Is it what caused the image? Is it the work of an artist? If yes, how was it done? What substances were used? If you look underneath the shroud, you'll notice several things. You'll notice the burns, which burn all the way through it. You'll notice the water stains, which soak all the way through it. You'll notice the blood stains, which soak all the way through it. But the one thing you will not see on the other side of the cloth is the image of the man. The image of the man is a purely superficial phenomenon affecting only the top 1 to 2 microfibers, not threads, microfibers. Each individual thread is made up of about 200 microfibers. So that means that this cloth resides on about 1% of a single thread. So it's exceedingly superficial. Now I'll give you some examples here. On your left is rust left from an old tack. No problem seeing the rust particles clinging to the threads and the fibers. On your right is a burned area. No problem seeing burned threads right next to threads that are untouched. On your left is a blood image area from the lower back. No problem seeing the blood soaking through and clinging to all the threads and the fibers. On your right is the image area from the tip of the nose, magnified 40 times, and you can hardly tell that anything is even there. In fact, this is one tip of the nose is one of the darkest parts of the shroud image. You have to drill down several hundred times magnification to see anything, and we'll do that in just a minute. Now, this is a portrait painted by a contemporary artist, lives in Britain. His name is Tyshawn Schoenberg. And I'm only using this just as an example. I got his permission to use his work. And what I wanted to do was to compare here the difference between the shroud versus an artwork. Now, the closer you get to the shroud, if you get closer than 6 feet, it disappears. You can't see it. You have to stand back from it in order to see it. Now, when you go over there to see the life-size replica, that's not true with the replica, because the replica is a photograph printed on cotton canvas. However, with the shroud itself, you get closer than 6 feet, you can't see it. However, with a painting, the closer you get, the more detail you see. Now watch this, we're gonna go close up on this painting and you'll see what I'm talking about. Clearly we see all of the different brush strokes and the variations in color and density. I mean, clearly this is the work of an artist. You go to the shroud, nothing. Back to an artwork, clearly it's an artwork. Back to the shroud, nothing. Now we go down to drill down several hundred times magnification. I'm not even sure how much. But this is a portion of a single thread, and we see some yellowing on the top 1 to 2 microfibers. So here's the best chemistry we have so far, is that the image appears to be the result of an accelerated dehydration and oxidation of the cellulose fibers, the flax fibers, but only in those areas immediately surrounding a body. So in other words, the image appears as a discoloration of the cloth with something having interacted with the cellulose of the flax to bring about this accelerated dehydration and oxidation. Now, what caused that? That's a matter of speculation. We don't know it. That's part of the mystery. Now, the mystery really got accelerated in 1898 when it was photographed for the very first time. And the image on your left is the image as you see it to the natural eye. The image on your right is the image as it appears in a photographic negative. And there's a transformation that takes place that should not logically take place. Now, I know we're firmly in the digital world, but does anyone remember taking pictures with film? Oh, okay, a few. Okay, I was at Georgia Tech the other day and nobody raised their hand. So you have this little film can for 35mm film. You take your film down to Kmart. Well, they're not around anymore either. And then you get your pictures back, and in the back of the picture there's a sleeve of negatives, right? You hold it up to the light and you say, who is that? You have to develop it to see what's on that negative. So why then does the image look so much clearer in the negative on your right? Because what's on the left is very kind of blurry and faint and indistinct. On the right, completely transformed. The only explanation is that the image that is on the cloth itself, on your left, must be a negative image to start with. And so therefore what shows up in a photo negative on your right is a positive image. And then when you look at it in the full body image, I mean, that looks like an X-ray. It's phenomenal how much more detail we see in the photo negative. Now, when you go back over to the other building,